All right, welcome everyone. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here for this explainer. Today, we are strapping straight into the cockpit of the Bombardier Q400 for a real masterclass in emergency checklist execution. I want you to literally set the scene in your mind. You know, you're flying along, everything's totally routine, the hum of the turboprops is just steady, and then, bam, a sudden flash of amber catches your eye on the caution and warning panel. The flap drive caution light has just illuminated. Now, your heart rate might tick up just a bit, but hey, as a trained professional, you know exactly where to look. We're going to break down the exact checklist response to this specific caution, word for word, step by step, so you completely understand the logic. Okay, let's dive right into this. When you open up your checklist to address that amber F-flap drive light, you're immediately confronted with a fundamental decision point. The checklist basically looks at you and asks one direct question: flap degraded operation, yes or no? I really want to emphasize here that the single diagnostic question determines the entire fate of your flight. I mean, the whole shebang hinges on your assessment right in this micro moment. You are evaluating whether the flaps are experiencing degraded operation. And your answer to this incredibly simple binary question, well, it's going to pull you down one of two wildly different operational paths.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer elegance of aviation checklists. On the left side, the no path immediately hits you with the hard truth. Further operation is not available, and you, my friend, are heading toward an abnormal landing. But look at the right side, the yes path. The world looks so much brighter over there, right? Flaps is required, operated normally. Visually, it's just amazing to see how the procedure instantly diverges based on that one initial diagnosis. Whether you're in the simulator or the real aircraft, you absolutely must commit to the correct column without any hesitation.
All right, let's look at path one, the no scenario.
So, we're transitioning now into that tense, worst-case scenario where your definitive answer to that diagnostic question is no. The aircraft is straight up telling you that standard flap functionality is simply gone. This is where your training really has to kick in, because the checklist dictates a strict, non-negotiable reality for the rest of your flight. Let's methodically walk through the exact three-step sequence the checklist outlines. Step 1 makes it absolute. Further operation of flap is not available. Honestly, you've just got to stop trying to move them. Step 2 establishes your new aerodynamic reality. Flap will remain in the failed position. So wherever they're stuck, well, that is exactly what you are flying with all the way down to the runway. And finally, Step 3 gives you your ultimate directive: accomplish abnormal flap landing. Stretching this moment out, you can really feel the gravity of the situation, right? You're no longer flying a standard arrival, you are actively managing a degraded aircraft configuration.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this exact note from our source material. When the checklist directs you to the abnormal flap landing, it explicitly references procedures we've already covered in a previous explainer. And honestly, this is a massive confidence booster. I want to reassure you right now. You already possess the exact knowledge required to handle this abnormal landing. There's zero need to panic or reinvent the wheel here. You simply apply the abnormal landing protocols you've already mastered. The checklist gives the order and your previous training just takes over.
And then we hit this: dash and dash. It is so incredibly simple, but absolutely crucial. Once you're instructed to accomplish that abnormal flap landing, the strict checklist text for the no path explicitly and abruptly ends right here. There is literally nothing left to read for this specific diagnostic path. The manual is basically telling you, look, the diagnosis is complete, the directive has been given, now put the book down and fly the airplane. It's a very firm boundary line in your cockpit management.
Okay, moving on to path 2, the yes scenario.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because now we get to take a collective sigh of relief. Imagine the data actually allows you to answer yes to that degraded operation question. You can feel the tension just leave your shoulders. This is the path where normalcy is quickly restored to the Bombardier Q400, and the crisis is, well, essentially downgraded. The instructions are beautifully brief here. Bullet 1, flap as required. Bullet 2, flap may be operated normally to complete the flight. And that's literally it. No abnormal landing profiles, no scrambling to calculate new approach speeds based on some failed flap position. You are simply granted permission by the manufacturer's checklist to just continue your standard operations. It's a remarkably simple set of steps that lets the pilot safely finish the flight as if it were just another ordinary day at the office.
And check out the finality of the yes checklist right here. Just like the other path, it wraps up with a definitive end. But in this case, it represents how smoothly and completely the procedure concludes when standard operation is permitted. You've diagnosed the caution, you've confirmed the degraded operation status is indeed a yes, you've noted that you can use the flaps normally, and you're done. The checklist is closed and you are right back to standard operational procedures.
Next up, memory tricks and tips. Memorize it effortlessly.
So the crucial point is, now that we've broken down the exact source text, we really need to lock this phrasing into your memory. Whether you're prepping for your written exams, an oral board, or a super high-pressure simulator session in the Q400, trying to recall text word for word? Yeah, that can be tough. But by using simple mnemonic links, we can make it totally effortless. The trick for the no scenario is the NA mnemonic. We are permanently linking the no scenario directly to the acronym NA. So if your answer to the checklist question is no, your brain instantly goes to NA. The N stands for not available, reminding you that further operation is not available and the flaps remain in that failed position. And the A, that stands for abnormal flap landing, which is the exact directive the checklist throws at you. No equals NA, not available, abnormal. It's really that straightforward, and it perfectly captures the entire left side of the procedure.
Conversely, let's take a look at the yes path. The trick here is literally the word YES itself. If your answer is yes, just spell it out. You execute standard operations. Y for you, E for execute, S for standard. This triggers your memory immediately that the flaps are as required and may be operated normally. It's incredibly relatable, right? When your simulator instructor throws that flap drive caution at you and the data actually tells you yes, your brain is going to immediately say yes, you execute standard. It just makes memorizing the standard operation text from the source an absolute breeze.
So we've seen exactly how this plays out today. A single word, yes or no, completely alters the fate of the flight. It immediately separates a routine landing from a full-blown abnormal emergency procedure. You've now got the exact text from the source, a clear visual breakdown of the two paths, and the memory tricks to recall it all instantly. So, I'm going to leave you with this final question to ponder. Are you truly ready to react with total confidence when that amber flop drive caution light flashes in the Q400 simulator? Keep studying, keep visualizing these procedures, and you absolutely will be for sure. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.